I want you to get together.
You know
Yeah, and
yeah.
yeah, on that point, I really do appreciate your last few videos about truthers, and I put out a my first episode was about the truth or trap, and why I argue why it's a psyop, right? And I think this is a big problem that a lot of people need to unplug from, and I think it is evil in that, you know, we are all we're all searching for knowledge, and when you start to wake up to the fact that the world is evil, things don't make sense, you're being lied to, the truther community is there as a, you know, open arm hug for, you know, all of us. You and I have been through this, right? So we know what it's like, right?
Yeah.
But for me, like, I just saw my entire community of friends online were all in these doom loops. And so, you know, a big part of my work is to inspire people to, I call it the post truther movement, which I think you're embodying in your work as well, which is like, okay, guys, we know this stuff is happening. You know, you don't need to, once you know something's evil, you know, finding out more about evil is not going to help you. In fact, I think it's a trap, right? So we need to be aware of what's going on, you know, kind of tentatively or to an extent, but, you know, at a certain point, we just won't know. And we have to be very comfortable not knowing, but we need to channel our efforts to goodness,
Hmm.
right? To creating good lives, building families, building communities, especially now when it's very clear there's an assault. So maybe we can kind of end there. I'd love to know your thoughts on that generally, and based off what you know, with respect to Nephilim and, you know, how they're engaging in society. Where do you think we're at right now, and what do you think people can do practically in their lives to, I guess, resist and to grow amongst this?
Yeah, well, like I said, my channel originally, and still is, other than this Nephilim clown thing, which I've become known for, is a meta commentary on what it means to be a truther and how to deal with learning the truth in healthy ways. That's basically what my goal has always been. Because I understand what it's like when you first discover the truth, whatever that truth is. It's usually there's some sparking point for everybody. There's some topic. It doesn't matter what it is necessarily, but it sends you down a journey that there's no coming back from. That which has been seen cannot be unseen, type of stuff. You can't just suddenly forget the truths you've learned and the corruptions you've come upon. And I understand that
Yeah.
journey is very destructive. Okay, for many reasons. So first of all, people tend to discover these things, and the first instinct is to go running to their friends and family to tell them what they've learned out of love. It's I want them to know the truth too type of attitude. And if they just see it, they'll understand. And it's based in naivety, unfortunately, because what they realize is they hit a wall, a
Mhm.
very brutal wall of rejection. The family and friends reject them wholeheartedly and look at you and say, "You've lost your mind. You've gone crazy. Are you okay? Do you need help?" And it's like they won't listen to anything you're telling them, and you then start to feel insane. It's like, are you being gaslit? Am I insane? What's going on here? You can start to spiral yourself, and then it becomes this, no, I'm not insane. They're all crazy. And you start to turn against these people, and you start calling them sheeple. Idiots who just
Yep.
can't see the truth. They're just blind. They're not awake like me. And then you can start becoming
Yeah.
hateful. And then you start to go down this weird, horrible route where you've alienated yourself from everybody and you're alone. And what you do when you're in this, you doom scroll and you keep watching more and more videos exposing more and more of these dark, hidden, secret, occulted truths. And they are true. I'm not saying they're not, but you're not coping with it well. You're
Yeah.
alone, and you can't be alone during this time. You cannot be alone during this time. It's great that we have a community online that we will help each other. And that's kind of my point. It's the right information in the wrong hands most of the time. A lot of the people originally, when I came to the truth of culture, were making videos trying to share the truth, but they weren't very good at it. They looked hyper sensationalized, over the top. They literally sounded like the stereotype conspiracy theorists, rambling and raving, pointing at the board behind them with all the pictures stuck up there, with all the lines connected to. They were a walking, talking stereotype, and people don't respond to that. They've been programmed, in fact, not to. The stereotype exists as a stumbling block for you. Because if you start coming across with doing the things human nature is, to ramble and rave to your friends and family in a certain excitable way, they they've already been programmed to laugh at people who do that. Don't fall into the trap of being like that. So my tips for truth this series is how to handle the information properly. If you've learned the truth, you are now an ambassador for that truth. Okay, if you want to go out there and spread it, you need to do it right. You can't just be
Mhm.
haphazard with the information. The information is a weapon. The truth is a sharp, powerful sword. Don't go around swinging that in people's faces. They will get defensive. That's the
Yeah.
truth. That's how it works.
Yep.
And worse yet, they'll attack back. They'll shoot you. You know what I mean? And some cases, quite literally, in certain places, in the world, it's not always freedom of speech is not a thing everywhere. You Americans might think that, but I certainly don't have freedom of speech where I live. I have things I'm allowed to say and things I'm not allowed to say by law here.
I'm in Canada. We're
Oh, well, that's different then. Yeah,
affected by the
you
same
understand. Yeah,
problem.
we're under the same thing, the same oppression. You understand then, especially with the whole thing going on with Trudeau. Never mind, whatever. Right, let's move on from that.
Yeah,
But
we're there.
yeah, fundamentally, the truth is a weapon. You have to be careful with it. And if you are going to represent the truth, you're an ambassador for it. You better represent us well. Okay, it's a responsibility. If you're going to go out there making videos and going to go out there telling it to people in the streets, are you presenting it well enough? Are you making us all look like fools? That's a burden of responsibility on you. Take it seriously, is my advice. Um, it's the right information in the wrong hands most of the time. Just because what you're saying is true doesn't mean people are going to believe you or listen. It depends how you sell it to them. And this is another thing, another point I make quite a lot is people don't buy products. They buy the person that sold them the product. They buy the people behind the product. They buy the words behind it, the imagery, the way it's sold to them. They don't care. You could sell anybody anything if you sell it well enough. If you come across as enough of a what's the word, an appealing character who built great rapport with them, and this is what your job is to do. You have to sell people the truth. It's sad, but it's true. And you need to be that person that can sell the truth. You need to figure out how people need to hear things, because if you come at them ranting and raving about this thing, this truth you've found, they're going to look at you and think, I don't want to end up like this guy, so I'm going to avoid the thing he's trying to sell me because it will make me end up like this guy. And that's how people work. But if you come across as cool, calm, collect, funny, a little, you got a bit of a relaxed attitude about it, you can make them laugh, you can connect with them on a human level while also telling them these things. They're going to like you. They're going to like what you're saying. They're going to think, well, this guy turned out all right and he believes this stuff. Maybe there's something there. Maybe it's not that bad. That's how we need to up our game with this information. That's how we need to start selling these things. And the consequences are dire. And I say, you can't save everybody. Don't go out there thinking you're going to change the world. You're one man. This is a collective effort, and sometimes you need to learn when to shut up. Sometimes maybe it's not right. And some people do not need to know these things. I know,
Yeah.
and this is the truth. Some people have too much going on and are never going to know. They have a dying family member they have to care for. They're constantly in debt and working 5 jobs just to put food on the family for the table or something. Everyone has something going on that's really horrible. Maybe they're mentally disabled and literally can't comprehend the information they're talking about. Not every human being has to know these things. You need to discern who those people are and are not. You can plant seeds, but leave it at that.
Yep.
Never push this information on people. Do not do it.
Yeah.
It does not work. But if you just mention something off the cuff in passing and then leave it, people who want to know will have heard you and they will come to you eventually for more information. And that's your way in to discuss these
Yep.
things. Never force it. It's a weapon. It's dangerous. You need to be careful with these things. And like I said, goes to my tips for truthers. I've been doing this for years. I've developed quite a few, and I'm always coming out with new episodes. A new one's coming out actually at the start of the month. It's already available to patrons. There's a few episodes ahead. They're all recorded 3 months ago, and I'm just releasing them now every few weeks. But yeah, I do a truth or therapy session every week, a live show for this reason. And it's just to
Nice.
connect with people and just to let them vent. And I read the comments and I basically tell them, you're not alone, you're not crazy, you just need to be careful. We've all been there. We've all made those mistakes. No, I'm saying all these things because I made the same mistakes. You know, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm
Yeah,
not saying I didn't do all these things. My hope is the new generation of people that wake up find these tips before it's too late. You know,
yeah.
that's where I'm at with it, really. Yeah.
Man, that's great. I would love to do co a co-event sometime, like tips for truthers, because I'm dealing with that too. And you know, I'm new. I'm a lot newer than you, but I'm already getting such an incredible response from people. I'm getting dozens and dozens of people reaching out in private messages saying, you know, you've totally summed up what I've been struggling with for years and what I felt was bad about the truther movement and community.
Mhm.
And I just got a message today from one of my followers who's like fundamentally changed their life and is going after a goal that they dropped for 10 years because they were trapped in the truth or doom loops, you know.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I mean, this stuff is really powerful, and I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's great you're doing that. And yeah, if there's a potential for us to do like co-host truther therapy sessions, that would be so fun.
I
Um,
usually do them every Sunday at 8 p.m. UK time. So that's
okay.
if you're on Eastern Standard Time, I think I'm 5 hours ahead. So it's maybe
Yeah, yeah.
three in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon. If you're free on a Sunday afternoon, let me know, and we'll arrange something. Yeah, I'm happy to do a co-effort on this. Absolutely, and it's literally
Sweet.
just interacting with the chat. They ask questions, and sometimes I give a bit of a presentation. But if you want to do a specific live show just about this, I'm always happy to talk about these things. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. And we're I always like to ask people predictions. So obviously you don't know for certain, but where do you see the next 5 years playing out in the world stage? And are you optimistic ultimately? I know all Christians are ultimately optimistic, but I mean, you know, within the world, where are you seeing things play out?
I don't think we'll see much change in the next 5 years. We're going to see more wars fizzle out, come and go. We're going to see a lot of nothing burgers that have come and arise. We're going to be kept on the edge of our seats for the next 5 years for the next thing to always happen, just like the past 10 years.
Okay. You
Uh,
don't see
that's it.
in the whole WEF, eat bugs, one world order.
Oh, well,
You
yeah,
don't think 2030 they're going to pull it off?
they'll always be pushing those things. They'll always be pushing the
Yeah.
next step in the dehumanization and getting us to change our basic human nature. But there'll always be pushback. There always has been, and there still is. You know, the pendulum keeps swinging back and forth from left to right to each paradigm all the time. It's actually not a new phenomena. We just feel like it is because it's so much
Yeah.
all the time, bombarded with information thanks to the internet. But the truth is, if you don't want things to change, don't let them change. So the power's
Yeah.
ours. The power is ours. Realistically,
So
if
true.
you just turn off that box in the corner of the room, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
None of these
Man.
agendas would ever come to fruition. Nothing would change. Your life would just be whatever you want it to be. It only happens because that's a narrative they've created that people lock themselves into and believe is their story. It's not.
Yep.
Turn the TV off,
Yep.
live your own life, get on with it. You'll be fine. We'll all be fine.
Man. Amazing. Yeah. I wrote another. I did another podcast called "Consent Positive Tyranny," and that was exactly my argument. You know, for me, when I shut off the phone and started being in nature more, I realized, wow, life is actually really beautiful and awesome, and all the problems we face are just in the mind, right? I believe the controllers are sorcerers. They have almost no physical power now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We almost never get a physical interaction with a police officer or somebody, you know, like it was apparently in communist Russia with spies on every corner, right? It's they become that's why I call it the Spellbreakers podcast because they're masters at mental spells,
Mm-hmm.
right? When then enough people believe is reality and then act that out in the world. Whereas if you just literally say no or don't buy into it. You know, you don't have to get angry. You don't have to lash out because that's part of their game too, creating like a polarity.
Mm-hmm.
You just say no and create goodness in your life, and you've won. And it's a way simpler, right? They always want it to be a very complex, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I see it as that simple. Turn off, you know, make families, turn off the screens, and live good lives, right? And
Yeah.
that's where I think Christians, especially now, are getting it so right. You know, especially where I live. Like, you know, all our friends are Christian families who are just crushing it, having kids. You know, we're growing food with them. You know, it's great, man. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Anything else to add, Paul? I know we've over the 2 hour mark here, but
Yeah,
yeah.
one last tip, which kind of matches in with what you were saying, is if you are in the doom loop, take a break, turn it all off, go be with your friends and family. Do not watch another video for at least 2 weeks on anything to do with truthers or topics or doom or anything at all. If you're gonna watch anything, read a book, something funny, something light-hearted, something family-friendly, wholesome, whatever it is, or go on a holiday, go for a walk, just take a break. The world's it's not going anywhere, and you're certainly not going to
Yeah.
change the world overnight. It's not going to miss you. Just go take a break. Okay, I took 5 years before I came back to YouTube, and in those 5 years, things got better. And I was in that doom loop. I was there before I took that break. I kind of thank God I got forced off of YouTube because of it, because I think it saved me from going down a very dark place. I've been there.
Oh yeah.
So I'll just end with that bit of advice. It's okay to take breaks. Don't beat yourself up for it. The fight's not yours alone. There's plenty of us out here fighting as well. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a break. Man, love it. Yeah.